Good afternoon. Hopping on this Tuesday afternoon to give an update on the 4 bills I had heard in committee today. 2 of those were in Health and Human Services, both related to Medicaid. The first one is a little bit wonky, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about it. If you have questions, please reach out to me. But basically, it is around creating some efficiency and cost effectiveness in Medicaid for patients who have dual coverage. So they have Medicaid, but they also have a commercial insurance. That can happen for a number of reasons, especially for those who are under 26 and may still be on a parent's commercial insurance as well. It also can happen for patients who have Medicaid and Medicare. And there are some, when that happens, there are some challenges that arise for prescription coverage. And so this bill would smooth out some of those wrinkles. Makes things smoother for patients, decreases delays, increased cost effectiveness for the state and for Medicaid, as well as for patients and families, and create some efficiencies. The second bill I had in HHS was one that I've talked about before because it was heard in Human Services previously. It's around presumptive eligibility for Medicaid. So babies who do a newborn screen and are diagnosed with a medical condition that qualifies them for Medicaid. It allows that to happen right away. It streamlines that process, allows them to get the coverage that they qualify for right away. It lifts worries off of patients and families, and streamlines things, make things more predictable for hospitals. And so both of those moved through committee well. We had a good discussion. The next bill I had was in housing this afternoon, and is around locally controlled housing fund. It would be a sustainable fund, which would allow funds for municipalities, counties in this example, to have locally controlled housing. And we do this really well in Olmsted County. In fact, we had David Dunn, who is amazing, all things housing in Olmsted County, came up to testify for the bill because we do this well in Olmsted County. This would allow other counties to do that as well. It allows counties to it's flexible funding for counties to really meet their housing needs that are specific to their communities. And then the last bill I had was in the Elections Committee this afternoon, and that was to create a study, to ask the Campaign Finance Board to do a study on spending limits for Minnesota elections. We have a really successful public financing program here in Minnesota for small donors with a match. And for candidates who opt into that program, we agree to spending limits. And those spending limits are updated every 2 years based on inflation. But outside of that, they haven't been updated since about 2013, 2012. So a long time. So the question is really, should those be changed? Do the limits still make sense? We know spending in elections has increased over the last 20 years, and those spending limits have not increased at the rate that spending in elections has increased. And so really just asking the Campaign Finance Board to analyze that and then bring back some recommendations to the legislature so we can make decisions on that. So I'm not saying that limits should be increased or lowered. I don't know. That's what the study would do and what it would tell us. It would look at what happens in other states, what are the trends over time, how many candidates are opting in to abide by the agreements and how many are opting out so they don't, and what does that look like. So would just give us more information on which to act in the Elections Committee. So that was my day today and those 4 bills. I've got 5 more bills up later in the week, so I will hop on later in the week to talk about those as well.